Hello, everyone. My name is Naeem Collins. I am the YCD Youth Internship Counselor for the City of Wilmington, and I'm excited to be able to provide this particular lesson and training with you virtually, talking about the subject matter, professionalism. I know that oftentimes when people hear the word professionalism or the term professional, what does that mean? And oftentimes when you ask the various people about it, they do not know. Some people have a different definition of what that means to them. And so here in this particular lesson, we're going to take some time to go over defining what does it mean to be a professional in the workplace. And so whether this is your first job, whether this is the first time that you're part of our youth career development program, or whether you worked in another organization or company or agency, I believe that this training will help you as a teenager, as a young adult, to be able to provide you with more tools to help you become a better professional in the future. And what we're going to talk about in this lesson, in this training, we're going to talk about even some effective, proper ways of conducting ourselves or behaviors in the workplace, how to become a better professional. We're going to even do an orientation where you will discover even how to dress for an interview, the do's and the don'ts, what you can wear for an interview and what you cannot wear, and also what you can and cannot wear for a job, depending on the area that you're working. Also, we will learn even some proper, effective communication, and that is essential and important when you're working on a job as a professional. I believe communication is probably going to be the most important part of being a professional. We're going to define what that means. And we're going to take a look at some people who function in various areas or different fields and what professionalism means to them. And we even have some of our very own counselors that express some of their definitions of what it means to be a professional. And also, you will learn proper etiquette on a job. And so I'm excited about this particular lesson. I hope you guys will learn something from it. And so as we get into the lesson, just think about even some things that you will have in your mind of how you can become a better professional. And ultimately, our goal during this lesson is to help you become not just a better professional, but also a better leader. So what does it mean to be a professional? When you hear the word professionalism, what are some things that come to mind? And so I want you to have an opportunity to think about that, ponder on that, and just maybe even jot down what does it mean to be a professional. Let me just share with you real quick. For me, when I think of a person who is a professional, I think of a person who is the top of their craft, or they are the top of their game. They are someone, I believe, that exemplifies someone with great character and someone that has a wealth of knowledge and understanding. They are someone, I believe, that has great poise. They know how to problem solve. They are quick on their feet. They are also someone that I believe know how to stay calm during crises or during emergencies. Someone that I believe can be a leader or know how to manage. And so I think that a professional is someone that not only get paid very well, but someone who conducts himself well, and they are someone who I believe could represent the company. And so I believe you could be a professional. So let's look at what it means by definition, what it means to be a professional.
Several definitions. Webster defines it as the conduct, aims, or qualities that characterize or mark a profession or a professional person. Other references describe it as the competence or skill expected of a professional and the key to quality and efficiency. Every one of us knows someone who personifies the definition of a professional. It's evident the moment they enter a conference room or step into your office. Your first impression is their physical appearance, always appropriately groomed and attired for the occasion. Their carrying cases for papers and electronics are understated. Their tone of voice is calm, and they communicate in positive, authentic, and assertive ways. You have a specific identity, whether by design or default. Your professional presence or your lack of it, is the sum of the qualities that others perceive in you. It has a powerful impact on whether your individual contributions positively or negatively impact the goals, mission, and vision of your organization. When others interact with you, you need to be certain they get a true picture of your core values, skill sets, and competencies.
Hello, everyone. My name is Naeem Collins. I'm actually one of the Summer Youth Counselors for the City of Wilmington. I have here Natalie Hawker. She's also a Summer Youth Counselor. I just want to ask her a question about what it is to be a professional, or what does that mean to her. So, Natalie, for our young people that are watching, what does it mean to be a professional, or what does professionalism mean to you?
So professionalism means to me someone that is respectful, polite, always on time, reliable, trustworthy, and honest.
And if you come into like a office space like the one that we're both in, what would you say will be a great, or in terms of like dress attire for someone who wants to be a professional?
Business casual, so a nice dress slacks with a nice shirt and some flats.
Alright. So you guys here, especially for some of the young ladies that are watching, so depending on the work environment that you are working in, it's important not only just to be professional as it pertains to dress, but as Miss Natalie had mentioned, is also being on time, your work ethics, what you do while you're here, because you could dress nice, but your attitude may not reflect the way you look. So to my definition, I agree that it's being honest, being on time, and dressing well. All right, thank you, Natalie.
You're welcome.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Naeem Collins. I am also the Summer Youth Counselor here for the City of Wilmington. And I have here LaShonda Wooten. She's also our Summer Youth Counselor. And I'm going to ask her a question in regards to what is professionalism, or what does being a professional means to her. So, LaShonda, what does it mean to you when you think of the word professional in the workplace?
Well, Mr. Collins, thank you for asking me that question. I would like to say that professionalism to me is having a positive attitude, having a positive outlook, making sure that I'm early, because early is on time and on time is late. Making sure that I have run if something happens when I'm on the road. Making sure that I'm confident. Making sure that I follow the rules and ask questions. Making sure that I speak properly. And making sure that I have manners and dress appropriately.
So you guys hear from Miss LaShonda is that one of the things I want to take away from what she had mentioned is about especially dressing appropriately. We understand, especially young people working during the summertime, is that it does get hot, and we are very aware of that. But at the same time, you have to be very cognizant of what you wear, both ladies and gentlemen, and is that you represent yourself when you go out. All right, so you're not only representing the City of Wilmington, or the organization or the company that you're working for, but you're also representing yourself and your family. And so your first impression is a lasting impression.
I think being professional means different things to different people.
Being professional to me is just about the level of pride that you take in what you have said you're about.
The context of being professional and what that term actually means has changed.
It has more to do with your heart more so than your talent.
Being a professional to me means having poise.
Truly be yourself, embody everything that you've done and everything you aspire to be.
Being able to control your emotions.
When I know that I am doing my absolute best, that people know things will be taken care of no matter what.
Understand what you're trying to accomplish.
I'm not going to be the one that drops this ball, and I'm going to work to whatever level I need to.
Taking everything that you know, everything that you've learned, all that you've experienced, putting it in a container and treating everyone you work with respect.
I think it's really important to kind of stay true to who you want to be.
And of course with that comes just carrying this air of respect and kindness too.
But another part of it is just being confident, but a confidence that's quiet and humble. An honest person, you have personal integrity, and you have respect for others.
It's all about confidence and knowing who you are and what you bring to the table.
It's one of my favorite quotes now, and it basically says, you know, do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, do better.
Being professional is highly valued in the workplace. It's essential if you want to be a success. But what does being professional really mean? In this video, we'll look at 6 key attributes that identify and define you as a true professional. First of all, professionals have specialized knowledge. They may or may not have academic qualifications, but they have a wealth of knowledge and skills and are committed to developing and improving their abilities. They keep their knowledge and skills up to date so they can always deliver the best work possible. Professionals are competent. They get the job done. They're reliable. So if they know they can't deliver on their promises, they manage expectations up front and do their best to make the situation right. They don't make excuses, but focus on finding solutions. It's vital for professionals to be honest and to demonstrate integrity. They keep their word. If a project or job is beyond the scope of their expertise, they're not afraid to admit it. They never compromise their values, and they will do the right thing, even when it means taking a harder road. Professionals are accountable. They always take full responsibility for what they say and do, especially when they've made a mistake. If they are challenged, they remain calm and businesslike, instead of getting angry or upset. Genuine professionals practice good self-regulation. This means they stay professional under pressure. They are polite and respectful to the people around them. They show a high degree of emotional intelligence and are careful to consider the emotions and needs of others. They listen and observe, and they don't let a bad day impact the way they behave with colleagues or clients. Professionals look the part. They don't show up to work sloppily dressed or with untidy hair. They dress appropriately for the situation. This gives them an air of confidence. Are you demonstrating these characteristics to the people you work with?
So we just looked at what does it mean to be a professional. I know oftentimes when we look at the term or we try to understand the term professional, it's not just about being competent. It's not just about being able to have a extraordinary character. It's not even about your experience and all of that oftentimes. But we're going to get into that being a professional also has a lot to do with your decorum. In other words, it has a lot to do with how you dress. And so one of the first steps in the employment process is the interview. And so oftentimes the interview is the make or break process in whether someone is employed or hired for a job. And so as we are understanding how to be a professional, professionalism most of the time has a lot to do with how you dress, how you represent yourself, how you present yourself. Because oftentimes the first impression is some people's lasting impression. And so you want to always put your best foot forward. And so we're going to take a look at the do's and don'ts of how to dress for an interview. And also we're going to talk a little bit about what you should wear on a job, depending on the area in which you are hired to work. So let's take a look at how to dress for an interview.
My name is Shamari, and I'm applying for a job as an office assistant. What is she wearing? After that, I made a list of what not to wear at a job interview. Goofy t-shirts are a don't. If the shirt says party naked, wear it to a party, not an interview. Sagging pants are just unprofessional. You're not coming to work to model your Ralph Lauren or Calvin Klein boxers. Put a belt on it. Tops that show too much breasts or any midriff are unprofessional. They say that you come to work to flirt, not handle business. Hi. Don't go crazy with the makeup or jewelry. And skip the Edward Scissorhand nails.
And I type 70 words a minute.
Having your hair done is important. It shows that you take care of yourself. Sweatpants make you look like you just got out of the gym. The interviewer won't take you seriously. Follow the lead of the people who already have the job that you want. For instance, if you're applying at a place where people are wearing suits, wear a suit. If they are wearing business casual, like a blouse and a skirt, wear something similar.
Hi, I'm Dee Marshall, career and life coach at dcmarshall.com, and this is how to dress for an interview for teens. Yes, the teenagers, you want a job too, right? Here's the thing. Let me just tell you what you all sometimes do that may be working against you when you're trying to get a job, when you're walking in to pick up an application, and you think that it's a score. Let me tell you something. If you are wearing anything that is too trendy, that's a no. If it's too fitted, that's a no. If it's not fitted enough, meaning it's falling down, that's a no. If it's wrinkled, that's a no. So did you get that? The first part is what not to do for an interview. And like I said, it's even when you're going in to pick up an application. Okay. So now let me get to the good stuff. Here are the rules for what to wear for an interview if you are a teen. It's easy. Khakis, pants on the bottom for girls and boys. That's number one. The second thing is collared shirt for girls and boys. No t-shirts. Your shirt must have a collar. The third thing is you must wear shoes. That means don't wear your sneakers into the interview. Now listen, if you see everybody else there with their sneakers on, that will be fine once you get the job, but you're trying to get the job. You need to impress the people there. You do that, okay? So let me show you what I mean, because I've given you all the rules, but you're thinking, all right, I need to see this. So first up, for the girls, this is just a regular slack. It's a khaki. This is appropriate for an interview. If you are a tween, a teen, you can wear this, okay? No leggings, no gym pants, no shorts, this, okay? It's simple. Then, what did I say? A collared shirt. Must have a collar. Now listen, you could go a little far to the right or to the left with this, but just make sure that it has a collar. Now, there's buttons here. So young ladies, make sure that the buttons are all the way up to the top. What we don't want to see is button all the way midway where there's some exposure. Okay guys, same thing. Collared shirt. This is appropriate. You're thinking, oh, that is so plain. How am I going to get a job? Listen, you can do whatever you want that is according to the dress code once you get the job, but you need to go in making a presentation for the interview and also grabbing an application. Always make sure that it's buttoned down perhaps and with a collar. Short sleeve or long sleeve would be fine. Now, if you're a little bit more fashionable, let me show you another shirt. Okay. So if you are this guy, right? It's a little bit more fashionable, a little bit more of a statement. And you know what? Maybe it's that you're going into, I don't know, part-time in an office. This would be appropriate. Here, traditional khaki, however, every year the khaki gets updated, but this is an appropriate khaki. So if you are a teen, this would be appropriate. All right, so did you get that? Okay, you have the rules and you now have some examples, but it's very simple. You must wear slacks, you must wear a shirt with a collar, and you must wear shoes. It's only for an interview. And guess what? If you really want to impress the folks, kick it up a notch. My name is Dee Marshall. I am career and life coach, and this is How to Dress for an Interview for Teens.
So you just watched a video footage on how to dress for an interview. But I also would say that not only that the clothes that you wear for interview, but also it's important to understand is that there are specific clothes or dress codes that are required to be worn at work. And so some of the things that you may have heard on the video footage in regards to dressing for the interview applies also for work. So you have to understand that with being a professional is that dressing proper, dressing for the specific area of work. For example, I know that I was an aquatics coordinator for the city of Wilmington for a number of years, and it was very important for me to try to change the culture. In other words, is that making sure that all the lifeguards and the managers and assistant managers that we had some uniformity, which means we needed to make sure that everyone's dressed properly, dressed in uniform, ensuring that the managers had the polo shirts on because it helped people to identify, especially the public, to identify who was the leaders, who was the supervisors, and then ensuring that the lifeguards were not mismatched. They just, everybody, male and female, looked the same because we were a unit. So the importance of this is that with every job there's a uniform, there's a dress code. So you know that if you are going to work in a office space, then you cannot come in there dressing like you just got out of bed, or you just was on the block, or you was just hanging with your friends, but you have to dress according to your environment, your work setting, and all of those kind of things, and that's important. So you have to make sure, and if you do not know, it's very important to ask questions. Oftentimes, most jobs has dress codes, and so sometimes you just got to just utilize some common sense. But if you do not know, then I would just recommend asking your supervisor or those during the interview process or the orientation, and they will better help you. Or they will give you what they will call a policies and procedures manual, and in there it would tell you what you can and cannot wear. Just like if you're working for sanitation, then of course, if you're taking out the trash or all of that, then you wouldn't want to come dressed in a suit and tie. So those is just some key points there. And especially if you're working around chemicals and those kind of things, then you want to make sure, or if you're lifting heavy objects, things that are over 50 pounds, then you want to make sure that you don't have flip-flops or sandals on, or you're exposing your foot or your feet, or the likelihood of maybe something falling on your foot. So footwear, eyewear, makes you safety attire, and all of those things are important on the work job. So depending on where you're assigned or where you're working, you have to dress accordingly. And oftentimes, what's an indicator is just look at the people around that you're working with. Look at your supervisors or your colleagues or your peers, and that can kind of give you an idea of exactly what you need to wear at the workplace. And I think the rule of thumb is making sure that you are properly groomed, and odors and smells. You already know what to do about that. So all of that is a part of being a professional. But not only that you are putting your best foot forward, but you're presenting and representing yourself, your family, and your organization well. Many of you, depending on the area of profession or the area of work that you're going to be working in, whether after high school or college, or many of you who are athletes, those of you who desire to be lawyers and doctors, chemists, biologists, all array of work fields that you're going to one day work in and to support you and your family. It's so important to understand that you will have challenges, and in order to be a great professional, an excellent professional, that you're going to have some obstacles, you're going to have some hiccups, you will make mistakes along the way. But I want to just share with you some famous people in an array of different work areas who have become successful. And I want this to inspire that many of you that there are famous failures, but there are also famous successes. And I believe many of you will have success stories such as these that you will find who are great professionals. Watch this.
After being cut from his high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. He wasn't able to speak until he was almost 4 years old, and his teachers said he would never amount to much. Was demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't fit for television. Fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and having no original ideas. At age 11, he was cut from his team after being diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, which made him smaller in stature than most kids his age. At 30 years old, he was left devastated and depressed after being unceremoniously removed from the company he started. A high school dropout whose personal struggles with drugs and poverty culminated in an unsuccessful suicide attempt. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything and that he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Rejected by Decca Recording Studios, who said, "We don't like their sound. They have no future in show business." His first book was rejected by 27 publishers. His fiancée died, failed in business, had a nervous breakdown, and was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never tried anything new.
I hope many of you were inspired by these famous individuals who have gone through a number of obstacles and trials and tribulations and even failures to kind of help build some of the most successful careers. And I believe that many of you that are watching and have been inspired by those individuals, I believe that you guys are the leaders of tomorrow. And I believe that that you have the ability to become not only great professionals, but you also can be great leaders. And I believe that you can lead from the future right now. And so it says in a phrase that do not despise the days of small beginnings. And so we all have to start somewhere. And so you can see by the stories that we've just saw, by the videos, that many of those people had to go through obstacles and trials and tribulations and even some setbacks. But I believe that your setback will be a setup for the future. So I want to encourage you, be inspired, because there's going to be a young man, a young woman, someone that is a teenager that's going to look back and look at you and aspire to become what you are and what you're becoming. So I encourage many of you that you are our future, and we're depending on you to represent the future well. So we've talked about what does it mean to be a professional. We even got into exactly how to dress for an interview, the do's and the don'ts, and even we discussed what it means to present yourself even at the workplace, depending on what area of work you will be working in. But I believe that also was part of being a professional is your behavior. Part of that is your decorum. It is also about the proper workplace etiquette. When we talk about etiquette, etiquette simply means the protocols, the code of conduct, which means how do you conduct yourself? Are you conducting yourself in a polite or in a way that represents the company well or the organization? It's the rules and regulations that governs the workplace, and so are you functioning within those guidelines, and are you standing out that helps to best represent not only yourself but the company? So we're going to talk about a little bit in the next video footage about the workplace etiquette and what that looks like. Take a look at this.
How to practice proper work etiquette. 1. Shake hands with a firm grip, direct eye contact, and good posture. Be sure to stand up. It's an upstanding sign of respect. 2. Dress appropriately. Every work environment is different, and so are our unique senses of style. But consider your wardrobe an expression of how seriously you take your job. And you seriously shouldn't wear your well-loved overalls to a meeting with the CEO. 3. Ditch the digital and focus on those around you. Fiddling with technology during meetings is inconsiderate. 4. Every tweet, post, and pic you put out for the world to see reflects upon you both personally and professionally. Just something to think about before you update your status. 5. Do you remember in elementary school when we learned to treat others as you wanted to be treated? Kindness still applies. Swap that stinky tuna fish sandwich for something less aromatic that won't linger and linger and linger. Or write more thank you notes. Politeness is professionalism. You got this.
Okay, so you got a job. Good work. Now you need to try and keep it. Probably not the best plan to arrive late on your first day. And think about what you will wear the night before. Clean clothes are a must. Also a good idea to make sure you get to bed early on a work night, and that you have credit on your phone for if you need to call in late or sick. You're making money now.
Yeah, hey, sorry I'm late. We had a big night, the boys came over and we just had...
Mate, I'd really appreciate it. If you're going to be late, you could at least let me know.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's your first day. Fair go.
I mean, I would have, but, low credit, it's not my priority. So
your desk is over there. Come on, let's get on with it.
As you can clearly see here, this is not a good plan.
Okay, so I need you to proofread this document for me. Okay?
Yeah, I'll do that later. I got my eyes are itchy. I got steroids this weekend. I got tickets for that. It'll be sick.
I need this done now.
Yeah, sure.
I strongly advise not to nap in the workplace.
Are you comfortable there, mate?
Man, that was the best dream. It was, it was stereo and she was dancing.
I don't need to know. Just need to know, have you proofread that document I asked for?
Communication is important if you don't understand something. just ask. Bring your own food. A sandwich perhaps, or cook extra dinner so that you have leftovers.
Let's go. Yo, dude, I'm at work, man. I've got to be quick, but dude, I wanted to tell you, everyone here's so weird. Yeah, like it's my first day and everyone's yelling at me. I've been working.
Complaining about being at work is a good way to never have to come back to work.
Anything, they're just drones. I don't know. Yeah. As if I would know.
Don't sigh or walk too slow. Making annoying sounds and rushing around maniacally will leave people around you on edge.
So, Giles, can you just give us a bit of a report on where you got to with that meeting you had with the client?
Had a bit of a think about their key markets, so we've come up with a strategy around how we're going to market their product. It went well.
Don't watch the clock and be the first to leave, right on the dot.
Yep, we had a look at the different kind of cheeses that they're selling these days, and she's got
5 o'clock, people. That's it. First day over. That's it, and aced it. Yes.
You may be asked to not come back.
Great day, people.
Hello, I'm David Ludlow from Init Learning. Here are some tips on professional behaviours at work. Remember, employers often look more at the soft skills and expect your commitment to them. Dependable. You need to make sure you attend work on the agreed days and times. Punctual. It is always best to turn up early for work. If you start at 9, try and be there a few minutes early so that you're ready to start work at your start time. Appearance. Make sure you are dressed appropriately for the job role, and make sure that you're clean and your clothes are odour-free. Respect. Be respectful and supportive of colleagues. Respect confidentiality and act with integrity. Communication. Effective communication is essential, e.g. verbal, written and unspoken. Remember, body language needs to be positive. Attitude. Apart from the way that you are towards colleagues and customers and suppliers, your attitude can be interpreted or misinterpreted through your body language. Organisational skills. You need to make sure that you meet your work targets, you meet all of your role requirements, and you respond to requests from others. The best way is to keep a diary, paper or electronic. So here we've got Monday, meet Gillian to train on the paperwork. Tuesday, help Terry with spreadsheets for calculating director wages. Send email to John with another idea about using ICT. Thursday, that's a deadline for the project at Cough Court. And Friday, annual leave. Teamwork. You need to make sure that you contribute to the work of others, maintain effective working relationships, and working cooperatively with all of your colleagues. Remember, it's not just about you, it's about the team. And finally, good luck in your job search and good luck in any new job role that you take on.
Now, after watching the 2 video footage on proper workplace etiquette, you can actually see some things that you can do and some things you cannot do. And just from the video footage, you were able to recognize is that when you are in a work environment, it's so important because we know that, depending on what your assignment is or what your work is, we all, both young adults and adults alike, we always don't have a good day. But as a professional, one thing about a person who is a professional understands, hey, that I've been hired to do a particular job, and though I'm not feeling my best, though I'm not at the top of my game, sometimes I don't feel good. I don't feel like even being here. But we understand as professionals, and even you must understand, is that when you're called to do a job and you're being hired to do a job, is that as a professional, we don't wear our feelings on our sleeves or emotions. We don't take the outside into that environment. I know some people say, I'm not going to let nobody mess up my money or mess up my bread or my paycheck. And so you got to have that kind of mentality. And I believe being a professional is also a mentality, but it's also a character. And knowing that there's a time and place for everything. And so what you may do outside of the workplace, it's different. And you got to keep in mind also is sometimes what you do outside of the workplace can also affect, because still you are representing the city of Wilmington, you're representing the organization that you work for. And so sometimes what we do outside can also affect, if you get in trouble out there, it also can affect your job on the inside. And so being a person who understands being a professional is that etiquette, decorum is so important. And so you have to understand that as you are learning and developing. And sometimes you just have to suck it up, bite the bullet, and do what you have to do, because understanding as a professional, you have a job to do, and there are people depending on you, and they don't know whether you're having a good day or a bad day. And so your attitude will determine as you may have heard, your altitude. And so how far you will grow and how far you will grow determines on your attitude. And so your attitude and your character means a whole lot when it comes to etiquette. And so as you watch the video footage of the young guy, you could see that he will not be at that workplace long. And so I just want to encourage many of you that as you are learning and as you're growing and as you're developing, is to keep that in mind, is that a professional has the ability to be able to withstand adversity, not to show people what they're going through, but also knowing how to get the job done. And that's what you have to learn how to do. Now you've come to the last portion of our training on professionalism. And so I hope some of you have stayed awoke during this process and I didn't bore you too much. But I want to just encourage you that not only being a professional has a lot to do with how you dress, how you present yourself, your skill set, your ability to be competent, your confidence, also your attitude or your altitude and your work ethics on the job or your work etiquette. But also being a professional, and I believe it's probably the most critical piece of being a young professional, is communication. How you communicate means the world. And I believe that as you grow, even as you become young adults, even as you go into different career areas, I believe that communication will help best to define the most effective professional. And so we're going to just discover what is effective communication, and we're going to go into what we consider the 3 C's of communication. And also, based upon the era and the times that we're in, you will realize that there's a certain type of communication that I believe that this generation has been immersed in. In other words, has been so that has taken such a control over their ability to communicate. And I believe that in order to be a great professional, you have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to articulate. And so, and I know that everybody are not excellent communicators. People are not comfortable talking in front of people or teaching lessons such as this and all those kind of things. But I believe that in any sphere or work area, you're going to be called on to speak. You're going to be called on to express, to answer questions. Even you may be even on television. You're going to have reporters or people that want to interview you because you're going to be, again, the best of the best. And so I believe that communication is one part that will define a professional. And so let's take a look at that. I believe that are 3 key essential C's in communication that will help you to be a great professional. Take a look at this.
Being an effective communicator is essential for a leader. In this short video, you will learn about the different ways we communicate and the 3 C's of effective communication. So what is effective communication? When you communicate effectively, you ensure that the right people get the right information at the right time. How do we communicate? Communication can be categorized into 3 basic types. Verbal communication, in which you listen to a person to understand their meaning. Nonverbal communication, in which you observe a person and infer meaning. And written communication, in which you read their meaning. Verbal communication is what we say, the words that we speak. We verbally communicate face-to-face, over the telephone, radio, or television. Nonverbal communication is facial expressions, body movement, gestures, eye contact, posture, tone of voice. It is how we look, listen, move, and react. Written communication can be done through letters, emails, books, magazines, the internet, or via other media. Regardless of how you communicate, it is important to remember the 3 C's for good communication. Be clear, that is, get to the point. Be concise, stay on the point without adding unnecessary details. And be complete, include all of the information necessary to make your point. Remember to use the 3 C's in all your communications, and you too will be an effective communicator.
Well, we have now finally come to the conclusion of this lesson and training on professionalism for today. I thank you guys for bearing with us and bearing with me during this lesson. I hope that you are able to gain a little bit of knowledge, a little bit more tools on becoming a professional, and I just hope that you are inspired, that you are encouraged, and we gave you a little bit of tools to work with. And so again, I'm excited for many of your future. And so as you ponder, as you think back, I want to just ask you, for the purpose of this video, is to describe in your own words what best describes you as a professional. What are your strengths as a professional? And also, what area I believe that you could work on. And so if you could answer those questions for me, I believe that there are some areas that we all can work on. And so if you saw in any of these video footage an area in which you felt like, you know what, I could be better in this area, or this is a strength of mine, I want you to write down 3 areas of strengths that is you, and 3 areas of weakness that I believe that you feel like you could work on to become a better professional. All right, well, again, I'm signing off, and I hope that you've enjoyed my lesson today on professionalism.